Okay, so after months of speculation, we finally have an answer to a question that royal watchers have been asking for a very long time. Where is Prince George actually going to go to school? And the answer that just came out is bigger than most people realize, because this isn't just about picking a school. This is about the future king's entire upbringing, and what it tells us about how William and Kate are choosing to raise the next monarch. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what was decided, why it matters so much, and what it reveals about a pattern going back generations. So here's what happened. Kensington Palace has confirmed that Prince George will be attending Eton College starting this September. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because it should. Eton isn't just any school. It's one of the most prestigious and historic institutions in the entire country, founded all the way back in the 15th century by King Henry VI. We're talking about a school with literally hundreds of years of history, producing some of the most influential people in Britain. Now here's where it gets interesting. George isn't just going to attend during the day and come home at night. He's going to be a full boarder, meaning he'll actually be living at the school. And this is a pretty significant shift, because up until now, George has only had occasional overnight stays at his current school, Lambrook, just to get used to the idea. This September marks his first real long-term boarding experience. Think about that for a second. The future King of England, 12 years old, moving away from his parents to live at school. That's a massive life change for any child, let alone one who's going to inherit the crown one day. But the part that really makes this story fascinating is the family history behind it. Because Prince William, George's father, also went to Eton. He spent 5 years there. And it doesn't stop with William. It actually goes back to Princess Diana. Reports have confirmed that it was Diana herself who pushed for her 2 sons to attend Eton. William went first, and then Harry followed his older brother there shortly after. So when George walks through those gates in September, he's not just starting school. He's stepping into a tradition that his grandmother specifically chose for this family decades ago. Now let's talk about why this decision matters so much more than just being about academics. Because remember, King Charles did not go to Eton. Charles went to a school called Gordonstown, which is actually known for being tough, disciplined, and very different in character from Eton's more traditional elite reputation. And before that, Queen Elizabeth II wasn't even formally schooled in an institution at all. She was educated at home by private tutors, which was actually very normal for royal women of that era. So when you line all of this up, you start to see a really interesting pattern. Each generation of the royal family has made a different choice about education, and each choice reflects something about what that generation valued. Elizabeth, private tutors at home, very controlled, very traditional. Charles, Gordonstown, a deliberate push toward toughness and character building, partly because his father, Prince Philip, wanted him to experience something rigorous. William, Eton, a return to that elite, historic, high-status path that Diana wanted for her sons. And now George, also Eton, which means in the small but meaningful way, William is recreating the exact experience he had as a child. And that raises a pretty interesting question. Is William trying to give George the same foundation he had? The same friendships? The same environment that shaped him into who he is today? Some royal commentators believe that's exactly the point. They argue that William values what Eton gave him, not just academically, but socially. The connections, the confidence, the sense of identity that came from that environment. And if that worked for William, the thinking might be, why not give George the same advantage? But here's the other side of that conversation, because raising the future king in 2026 is nothing like raising him in the 1980s when William was a student there. Back then, there was no social media. There were no smartphones with cameras everywhere. There wasn't this constant 24-hour news cycle, dissecting every single move a royal child makes. George is going to be living away from home, surrounded by other students, in an environment where every classmate, every teacher, and potentially every visitor could end up being a source for a story. That's an enormous amount of pressure to place on a 12-year-old, even one who's grown up around public attention his entire life. And that's exactly why some royal observers are split on this decision. On one hand, you have people who say this is a smart, stabilizing choice. Eton has experience handling high-profile students. They know how to manage security. They know how to give some level of privacy within a controlled environment. It's not like George is being thrown into an ordinary school with no preparation for the kind of attention he receives. On the other hand, you have critics who argue that sending him away from his parents at this age, during such a critical part of his development, especially given everything that comes with being second in line to throne, might create emotional challenges that are harder to predict. Now here's something else worth paying attention to, because this decision doesn't just affect George. It sets a pattern for what comes next. Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis are both still at Lambrook right now, but eventually, the family is going to have to make similar decisions for them too. Will Charlotte also go to a historic boarding school? Will Louis follow the same path as his older brother? Or will William and Kate make different choices for their other two children, based on what they learned from how George adjusts to this massive change? This is actually one of the most overlooked parts of the story. Royal watchers have pointed out that George's educational journey has already included quite a few changes. He started at Thomas's school in Battersea back in 2017. Then he moved to Lambrook. And interestingly, his very first day at Lambrook happened to be the day after Queen Elizabeth II passed away, the exact moment George went from third in line to the throne to second in line. So in a strange way, his educational milestones have already been tied to major royal turning points. And now here's another one. Eton, the same place his father went, the same tradition his grandmother started. What makes this moment so significant is that it's establishing something that goes beyond just one child's school choice. Some commentators are already calling this the start of a new modern tradition, one where future heirs to the throne are expected to attend Eton, the same way it became expected that they'd serve in the military or take on royal patronages. If that pattern continues, George's children one day might end up walking through those same gates too. So let's bring this all together. What we know for certain is that George starts at Eton this September as a full boarder, following in his father's footsteps, continuing a tradition that traces back to his grandmother Diana's wishes. What we don't know yet is how this will shape him, whether the pressure of being away from home as the future king will be harder than people expect, or whether this turns out to be exactly the foundation William believes it will be. Either way, this decision tells us something important about how the monarchy is choosing to prepare its next generation. Tradition over reinvention, familiarity over experimentation. And whether that's the right call or not is something we'll only really understand years from now, when George is grown, and we can look back at how this chapter shaped him. So here's my question for you. Do you think sending George to Eton is the right decision? Or do you think the pressures of modern life make this a much harder path than it was for William? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated as Charlotte and Louis's school decisions get made in the future, make sure you're subscribed and you've got notifications turned on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.